Hello, this is RICKY, the Android guy, and welcome to session 2 for the Q&A. So guys, I hope you liked the Q&A, got some good feedback last time, and got some new questions this week as always. Again, I'm only picking up 10 of them each week, which I get a lot of, so 10, ones that I think overall people have a lot of questions about. So the first one comes from 0912 Kevin, and he asked on the video on how to use the Sony smartwatch, will this work on the Galaxy Note 2? So I get a lot of questions on what this watch will work with. It's actually very easy. If you want to know if the Sony smartwatch will work with your device, all you have to do is simply go to your Play Store on your device and basically just search smartwatch. If you search smartwatch, I think Sony's app is actually called smartwatch or Sony smartwatch. And if that app can be installed on your phone, then it can work for it. I haven't seen really any device in the past year now, let me correct that, any high-end device in the past year now that has not worked with it. So the Note 2 is one of those that will work, but just letting you know that that's going to be, for any of the devices, just you can do that and check if smartwatch will work on it, and that's all you need to do. So if you have the device, just literally go to the Google Play Store and search for smartwatch, and then if you see it, it'll work. So that is that one. Diamond Baseball 8 sent me a message. Hey, I just got the S3 and my lock screen is really boring. Do you have any recommendations I can use for my lock screen? Yes, actually. The lock screen on the S3 is actually probably the biggest, the most exciting lock screen really you can change. It has a lot of features, and I mean a lot of features you can use with the lock screen. How you actually get to it is pressing on your home screen, go to menu, then settings, and then go to, I believe it is security or lock screen depending on your carrier. Sometimes they change it, but usually there's a lock screen section, and then you can actually just go to what is on your lock screen. And there's so many things. There's weather, dual world clocks. You can choose 4 apps that you go to right away. There's the information ticker, which you can put either news, stocks, or if it has the new 4.1 update, you can even put Facebook updates. So a lot of things that you can do with it. You can even launch your camera by tilting it to the side. So there's lots of stuff you can do with it. There are always, third-party lock screen apps. Not the biggest fan of them, but there's lots of them you can go for as well. I just think the S3 has so many features on the lock screen, more than any other device, that's the one that you should stick with. But you can feel free to try any of those. You can even unlock it with your voice. Lots and lots of features that you can do if you just go to that lock screen section on your settings. So yeah, that was what I recommend for that. I believe it's RD, ARDI, has asked, can you tell me how to connect the PS3 controller to the Nexus 7? Is it does it need to be rooted? What kind of app should I install to support the PS3 to detect the Nexus 7? Here's the thing, actually. The Nexus 7 works natively with the PS3, meaning if you just want to connect it through USB, it will actually work right out of the box. All you need to do is basically use a USB adapter. The one I personally have that I've used for all of my channel has been the official Samsung one. Now that is a micro USB to a female USB, also known as a OTG cable, on-the-go cable. That is what's known by online. Just be careful with those because honestly, as I said before, I went the cheap route one time and got I think it was like a $3, $4 one from Amazon, It didn't work, so I just spent the money and got like the Samsung one for, just so I knew it would have no problems. That one was $20, so it was fairly more expensive, obviously. But hey, I've used it on every device from the Nexus 10, the Nexus 7, the Samsung Galaxy S3, the Note 2. So I feel like I got my money's worth. And this just works natively. Now, what apps I've used, I've demoed a couple of them. There are a lot of games that support the PS3. First of all, pretty much every emulator on the market does. You can take a look at any of my gaming reviews and you can see the emulators that I've used, but I've used ones for Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, N64 doesn't always work. The PS3, of course, or the PS1 games work perfectly with the PS3 controller. So those are some of them. And also other new games do, like Shadowgun works with it, Dead Trigger works with it now, and a lot of other games will work with the controller. Hopefully we'll see more of this happen in the upcoming year, because I think this is where all gamers, especially anything like first-person shooter or fighter games, should really strive to work with controllers, because it makes sense. Gamers want controllers. You cannot replace a touchscreen with a gaming controller for a true gamer. And I believe every game should embrace this. Gameloft, I'm looking at you guys especially. You guys definitely need to step up when it comes to this. EA as well. So yes, that is how it just works right out of the box. Now, if you want to use it wirelessly, you do need to generally root it to do that. There's lots of videos on how to do that. I am getting to it. I haven't rooted devices for a little bit. I used to do it all the time. I rooted over 20 devices. Haven't really been in that much into it anymore. But once you root it, you get an app I believe called BT Joystick, and basically you can kind of configure your PS3 controller to work wirelessly with Bluetooth and work with pretty much any game then, because once you root, you can actually have every touchscreen button work with your controller. So yes, that is how you would do it wirelessly, and that does require rooting. Also, if you want to use a Wii controller or an Xbox controller, you do need to root as well. Alright, Suave Vision TV asks, will a screen protector affect the accuracy of the S Pen? This was on the Galaxy Note 2 review. Yes and no. It really depends on the screen protector. It really shouldn't, because technically the S Pen senses the screen about an inch apart. So even if a screen protector is pretty thick, it should still detect it. And your press might be a little nullified, I would say, in terms of the Note 2 works with pressure sensitivity, so light press versus harder press will make a difference. However, for your basic navigation, this will not make a difference. It will more make a difference on things like S Note, or when you're writing any kind of notes that pressure sensitivity really matters, or photo editing. Things like that is when it would matter. Your regular navigation, it shouldn't matter. I usually recommend ZAG if you are going to use a screen protector, and generally their HD one is far, far superior compared to their regular built-in one. I don't recommend the regular built-in one. I usually recommend the HD one. It's a lot thinner and definitely feels more like a screen. And if you're going to use a pen with it, I would say that. But honestly, it's Gorilla Glass 2. I don't believe in using a screen protector that often on those, simply because you really can't break the glass. It's really hard and very difficult to. Most people, when they break the glass on the S3 or the Note 2, they break it underneath, and you cannot feel it because it breaks underneath. It doesn't actually break the Gorilla Glass 2. So yeah, just FYI. Tristan Konzi asks, when you on the Galaxy Note 10.1, when you create a new document on Polaris Office, can you edit it? So yes, you can create. You can create new documents on Polaris Office. Was his question? Yes, you can, and you can edit it as well. So you can edit or create new documents with Polaris Office or just view documents. So Polaris Office is what most people will use on Samsung devices, simply because it's really compatible with Microsoft Office. It can open up, a Word document file and a newer one or older one. Most versions of Office Substitute can't always open both the older and the new one. With Polaris Office, you can. So it really does play a really great part in it. And I think it's a very, very great office for you to use. So yes, you can type in full papers and everything like that. I would still recommend, you can type up your full paper on Polaris Office. I recommend always looking at it on a Word computer though. You can email yourself or check out the OnLive desktop app and see how you can actually use an online storage and open it up on Microsoft Word on your tablet as well. So that's my suggestion. The reason for it is just because I always like to check the formatting just in case it's slightly different on Microsoft Word than Polaris Office. For the most part, it would be fine, but maybe it might be like an indent that wasn't there or something like that. But yeah, so the Polaris Office is a great one, and it will pretty much format it almost identically to Microsoft. And if you typed Microsoft document, spreadsheet, or PowerPoint, it pretty much is exactly identical for editing purposes. So yes. Valuing Rumble ask for the Galaxy Tab 2 10.1. Is this a gaming tablet mostly? Actually, I would not describe the Samsung Galaxy Tab 2 as a gaming tablet really at all. It's not really the best for graphics wise when it comes to gaming. I would really recommend this as a non-gaming device. Now, even though, as you've seen in my gaming review, it played games pretty decently, especially for its time, I don't recommend it really for gaming purposes. I recommend it more for the people that want to watch videos, that want to go online. The web browser is really great on it. Things like that are really great on the Tab 2. I don't really recommend it for gaming though. I wouldn't recommend it for gaming as much. I would more say, to go with the Toshiba or the Asus around the similar price for the Tegra processor in terms of a really gaming experience. However, Samsung is great is usually great all around, and it doesn't play games bad unless they're the really high-end ones. Then for that case, I would recommend going with the Note 10.1 over the Galaxy Tab 2. Alright. Frisbee Dude 1121 asks, S-Note isn't compatible with other writing programs. Is it compatible with other writing programs like Word, right? For example, if I wanted to print my notes out, moving them to a computer and printing them out with Word, OpenOffice, would I be able to? Actually, it's a little bit easier than making it compatible with Word. With S-Note, you can actually export all of your notes as a PDF. So it's just easier that way because they're more universal. You can use it with Adobe Reader or anything that opens up PDFs, which is more universal than a Word document can be, especially if it's just for printing purposes. So you can export all of your notes as a PDF and then email them to yourself, or save them to a flash drive, or whatever you want to do, save them to a micro SD card, and then connect to a computer for printing. Or you can use the cloud print app that's available to print directly from your tablet to your printer. So that would be the way you would extract your notes from the Tab 10.1, from the Note 10.1, or from the Note 2. Jordan23G1 asks, for the switching your iTunes to Google Music video I did, will music still be left on iTunes as well, so I can still download to Apple devices, or and does this work the same for PC? So yes, I actually did a video on switching iTunes from your on your Mac to Google Music, as well as iTunes from your PC onto Google Music. So there are different ways to do it. I suggest watching the other video to see that way. However, it will not interfere with iTunes. You can continue to download anything you want on iTunes, and that way iTunes will still work with your Apple devices. Say if you have an iPod and you still want to use that and download things to iTunes, that's perfectly fine. You can still use iTunes to buy all your music. What Google Music does that's really nice and really good is that it will allow you to automatically, say if you download a song, a new song that was out, right? You download that song, and that song will go to both your iTunes folder, as well as, once it's in your iTunes folder, it will immediately be uploaded to Google Music. Now this is really nice because you just bought one song and it's on both your Android device and your iOS device at the same time. This is what really makes Google so great, that it's so open that it allows, it doesn't close itself off like iOS. Like iOS is like, no, you can't put any of our stuff on there. Google actually makes it so that it's very open enough to take that music from iTunes and have it on your iTunes device as well as your Android devices. So that's one of the real highlights of Google Music, and one of the reasons why I recommend it so much, because you can keep using iTunes, and as soon as you download a song to iTunes, it'll also be on Google Music. Tavon asked, I had a question related to the Samsung Galaxy Tab 10.1. Can it be displayed in portrait like the iPad? I had an iPad and it's easy to rotate the display, both landscape and portrait, but it seems to only be landscape version on the Galaxy Tab 2 10.1. So on the Galaxy Tab 2 10.1, you have a menu that will pop up on the lower right when you click the clock. And on that clock, one of the options is screen rotation. So as long as you highlight that screen rotation, that is how you can make it a rotated screen from landscape to portrait. And this is for every Samsung tablet with the exception of the Nexus 10, because that has a different UI. But for the Samsung Galaxy Tab 2 7.0, 10.1, Note 10.1, they all work like this, where the clock at the bottom right, if you tap it, you'll get a little section of all these toggles, like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and all these other things. If you scroll a little bit down, you'll actually see screen rotation be one of them. And once that's highlighted, usually in green, you can just flip it as you as you see fit, and you'll rotate from landscape to portrait. So it's really easy once you just know that, and then you can screen rotate as much as you want. And now you don't have to have a button do it for you. It's just that simple. All right, and the last question comes from Carl Maxwell. And Carl came across my videos, and he liked my reviews. Thank you, Carl, for that compliment. On all these different devices, and he got his kids 2 Android tablets for Christmas, and he was wondering if there was a way to download or buy movies to put them on the tablets. He originally thought that you could buy movies from iTunes and then put them over to Android. Fortunately, Apple's really closed, so they have not been able to get that across yet. Google hasn't been able to get those videos yet. But there's actually a lot simpler solution. Google Play Store is where you can buy products. Now, if you're afraid of your kids, obviously, like having your credit card or anything like that on the device, I would simply recommend going to any place like Target or Radio Shack or Walmart, I believe even has them, and they're Google Play Store cards, which they're just like prepaid gift cards, and they come in like $10, $25, $50, and basically you can just buy these gift cards and put like $10 worth in the Play Store, and you can buy movies then from that. And if the kids are on the same account, so if they each have the same account, basically if you download one video, it will go to both of their accounts. Say if you downloaded, like one of the Pixar movies, Ratatouille or something like that. If you downloaded Ratatouille and you bought that video on the same account, then it would go to both tablets and both kids can watch it. So this is available through the kids' place to the Google Play Store, and as soon as you open up the Google Play Store, you'll see apps, books, magazines, music, and movies and TV. And obviously that's where the movies and TV is, where you'll buy your videos, movies, episodes, all that kind of stuff. So that's the best way I would suggest doing it. The other way is through Flickster. If you ever bought a Blu-ray or DVD with a digital copy, it most likely used ultraviolet for that digital copy. And I do have a video on how to watch your ultraviolet movies through Flickster on your tablets on my channel. So hopefully tune into that to see how that works. Alright guys, that has been the Q&A session with Ask the Android Guy. Hope I answered a lot of your questions. Keep asking those questions so I can answer them live here on the Q&A. If you have any more, feel free to ask. This has been RICKY, the Android Guy.